Everybody, oh man, this is your main man, Anthony Brogdon, coming at you straight, no chaser. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna put a little lime, a little lemon in it to intoxicate your mind with some good Black history and some wellness. And because it has become my mission in life to enlighten you, to educate you, and maybe to a tad entertain you, my brothers and my sisters around the world who are watching me. Thank you so very much. You know, I'm coming up on 3 years doing this. I'm over 500 videos and from around the world. This thing is good. I like doing this. This has become my calling, everybody. And the sister that I got on the channel now, I am extremely impressed with this young lady. She's what, if I can use the term, a heavy hitter in her game plan. I'm very impressed. I've been seeing her, and she's in my town, Detroit. Oh, and let me tell you something. I forgot to tell you, my name is Anthony Brogdon. I'm that excited about what's going to happen today for you, my brothers and my sisters. Hit the subscribe button on Strong Inspirations. It's free. You can watch this for free. Take it to your classrooms. Take it wherever. Let people watch it. And because it's on YouTube and otherwise, you can move the cursor. You can go past me for the sake of time, whatever you want to do, but get this good Black history. And then hit the like button on this video. You're going to like it. The sister, she's smiling. She good looking, everything. You're going to be like, whoa. You're going to come back more than once to watch this one. Cut me out if you have to. And then, my friends, hit the notifications bell for when new videos come up, which is almost every week. You get a ding, a shock, a smoke signal. Your eyes twitch, something to let you know there is new content on Strong Inspirations. Because, like, did you see the one that I did with the guy who they had his grandfather at the tree with the rope around his neck and they let him go? Watch that video. Did you see the one I did with the guy whose father is the first Black player in the NBA? What? Look, that video. Did you see the one I did with the lady out of Nova Scotia, Canada, that said what happened was back in the slavery times, the British came through and said, hey, if y'all get away, y'all come work with us, fight against America, and then we'll give you your freedom, so on and so forth. Well, as you know, the British lost. So then what they did, them brothers and sisters got on a boat. We ain't scared of them boat rides. Got on a boat and ended up in Nova Scotia, Canada as free people. And she's a descendant of that situation. Watch that video. And lastly, did you see the one I just did? This one here was really, it's still heavy on my heart. I still cry when I talk about it. This sister integrated a school, a high school in 1965 in Gainesville, Florida. She said them white kids tried to kill her one day. They beat her up so badly in front of the school door, everybody watching, that when she stumbled in the principal's office, he said, man, I ain't got nothing to do with that. And you ain't gonna use my telephone. So then she stumbled across the street, called Dad. Dad came and got her, told her, hey, you ain't got to go back. We're going to try this angle from, try this from a different angle. She said, I'm going back. They are not going to defeat me. I still tear up as I hear her story. I'm going to meet that sister one day. And there's a bunch of them like that on this show. This is what we do here. We bring it to you.
Right.
And you're going to like what this lady got to tell you. She's in the real estate game, but she knows some historical perspective. Because it's always something that man tries to do to us to hold us back. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. Couple more housekeeping notes. As you may know, I'm a filmmaker. I'm giving you this Black history in various forms. It's in this documentary called Business in the Black, The Rise of Black Business in America. One of the things I did was I interviewed a number of people whose family owned a business in the early 1900s. And they talk about what that was like. That's in here, and it's streaming on Amazon. I took it one step further. I wrote this book on the rise of Black business in America. I'm telling you, there are 30 people in this book who were Black business owners in the 1800s, and some of them were enslaved. That's an incredible story. You got to find it. But hey, now let me tell you something more. The book does go deeper into that. I'm telling you what racists did to destroy Black business districts. There's a whole chapter on them highways. They built a highway right in Detroit that took out our Black bottom. And they did it in many other cities. That's in the book. How slaves gained an education. How I named early graduates. They went to Dartmouth and Yale and Harvard, University of Michigan, and all them HBCUs. That's all in this book. Get you a copy of that. Two more things, my brothers and my sisters. Very soon, I will be getting back from my printer my children's book.
Okay.
It's titled They Did It. It's about 30 rich Black people. I tell you the name, the year they was born, and what they did in very simplistic forms. You can read this to your kids. And it's on sale now on my website, businessintheblack.net. And very soon, like next February, I got a movie coming out. It's titled They Did It. That goes with the book. It's 12 rich Black people in the 1800s. I got a premiere here in my town, Detroit, Atlanta, DC, Chicago, maybe 2, 3 other cities. And then it goes straight to them streaming services like Tubi and Amazon. I'm a little older, so I ain't got time to play with them film festivals. I got to get this to you real soon. So check me out. Everything is on my website, businessintheblack.net. Now you hear me use this term strong a lot. Strong is my favorite word. I wish my middle name was Strong. And in my world, strong stands for strength, tenacity, resilience, and a sense of oneness, nobility, and grace. And that is my introduction to the sister on the show today. She's a strong sister. Come on, introduce yourself. Let's get it on. Thank you for being here.
Hey. Woo, that was awesome. I'm excited. Let me
Yeah.
celebrate you. That's beautiful. And what you're doing, the history, showing how much you represent who we are, what we have endured, loving our Black people so that we can be better examples of patient is so important. The Black business and the Black, that is so important.
Tell us your name. Tell us your name.
I'm sorry, I'm Lene Harris. Hey, everybody.
All right.
Lene Harris.
Okay. Now, before we get into the story at hand, I got to ask a couple questions about you so the audience get to know you. I do this with everybody. Where were you born and raised?
I am a native, born and raised Detroit, Michigan.
Okay, Detroit. Let me ask you that. Did you live in the, and I know the story somewhat because everybody, Detroit for many years was like 80% Black. But did you grow up in a Black neighborhood? Were there white people nearby? Did you know white people growing up?
So initially, yes, I grew up. My family is from that Black Bottom area, which we used to call Paradise Valley, all of that. And actually, my great grandmother had to be relocated because they came up in that area and transferred what we now call 375, which used to be a Black thriving community, right? So, which they ran a freeway straight through there, like you said. And then one of the great things about she migrated from Nashville, Tennessee, she always was a homeowner. So they came to Michigan, they bought their first home, and she continued to buy as she transitioned from one community to the next. And then the last property where she, transitioned, she was 93, God bless her. When she transitioned to a predominantly white neighborhood, but when the Blacks started coming in, they started moving out. So it was 2-family flat that she purchased for that extra income. So in a sense, that real estate entrepreneur spirit was always instilled in me, because back then they used to do the boarding houses where they would have people come in and actually rent out rooms.
Oh, okay. But I want to go back just a tad. Did you know white people though? Did you ever know white people growing up?
I did. I moved in a community where I had white friends, and so having, that sense of not looking at color, and then the parents looking at color. See, kids, they don't know color, until their parents start saying, don't speak to them, don't go around them, or they would just move. Like, you come back to school the next day and your friend is gone.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, and I know I'm jumping around, but you say they're from Nashville. Where's the slavery at in your family? Do you know that story?
So I don't know if I go all the way back. I do know my great great grandfather, I would assume, probably was in that, because my great grandmother in my life lived to see 93 years old in my life. And then her mother was actually mixed. So she was at that
Oh,
sex,
really?
having sex with one of the masters, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Oh. Um, and so, did your family move here for the automotive jobs? What was that for?
That was for automotive. Everybody kind of migrated north looking see and the plant.
Yeah. And that plant really built up Detroit, understandably, and was a great opportunity for Black people, coming from the South. Is there any strife in your family where some injustice happened, because y'all were movers and shakers in some respects? Anything like that?
Well, you're always going to have injustice. My uncle, my grandmother had 7 children. My mother 7, and my uncle at, I want to say, 23. I'm not exact age, but so he was actually shot by a police officer in the back, and it stayed in court for a long time. My grandmother didn't receive anything back then. It didn't even matter. That was just something that just got, swept under the rug. It changed the trajectory of family's life. My uncle, from that went on to be an attorney because he saw the injustice that was happening with my grandmother, his mother. So that motivated him to go to law school. And you do see the dynamics change when we are always been exposed to trauma, some form of trauma, whether it's redlining in communities, whether it's Black, police brutality. So it's always going to be something that, changes the dynamic of that structure and the foundation of the African American family. My mom being a single mom, raising 3 kids, the father and it's weird because even my last name, I couldn't even get my father's last name. So that breaks up the family legacy right there. In order for the hospital to pay for the birth, if the father went on your birth certificate, that will change the dynamics too. So, and they couldn't afford to really, they didn't have Medicaid and Medicare supplements to do that. So I am a product of a system that was always designed, not with the structure being solid, very working families, it's just kind of like it was already broken to begin with. So they just go with the brokenness, and then everybody just go along with it as if it's okay. So I don't even have my father's last name.
So let me ask you this: Did who taught you? Who told you to go to school and get good grades?
Job, so that we can work the factories, so that we can work the, what I'm saying, and continue to perpetuate that mindset of go to school, get a good job if we want to have a better life for ourselves. And when you think about it, no one taught, I'm a serial entrepreneur. No one will say, you know what, find out, how you can be a problem solver, how you can, grow up to be an entrepreneur. So you're not going to be led in that direction. You're going to be steered. It's almost like steering. I want to steer you so that, this corporation and that corporation and this corporation can continue to benefit off of the laborious work that we have been doing since the cotton picking days.
Okay. This leads into this. You do what now? You are a real estate what?
I'm a licensed builder, a real estate broker, and an insurance broker. And then I have my health and my life insurance. So I have license, I have trades.
Uh, how do you get the license?
Still have to go to school. So back in 99, I well, no, I'm sorry, 97, I decided to get my building. I went to a trade school and I learned how to do rough carpentry, roofing, framing, all of the things that consist of contracting before you can get your license. So I literally went to school for 3 years at a trade school.
Um, but that's kind of uncommon for a woman, isn't it?
Very uncommon. And at the time, I was the only Black female, the only African American, and the oldest in my whole class. It was like 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds. Here I am pulling up every day on my motorcycle, hanging out, whatever. But I can walk in any space because in my thought process, I belong there just as much as anybody else. And so a lot of times I'm in rooms with people, other, of course, not my color, but they have a sense of entitlement, that mindset, and then it's almost as if you don't belong in this room. And so you're going to be treated different. Already be prepared for that. Everything is going to kind of center around, you being the eyeball in the room. So when you're the eyeball in the room, it's a certain level of confidence. And, what you do is amazing because without history, parents, vision, we don't have vision. Well, without history, how would you have vision of knowing what
Sure. Did you face something in school where somebody did what they could to flunk you out?
Well, growing up for me was, like I said, we were you could see the favoritism when you were in, like, the school that I went to initially was predominantly where you see more Caucasians than you see, the skin. So when you see somebody in your own skin color, you kind of hide because and the teachers treat you different. The attention is different. If you're getting free lunch, you're going to be teased compared to the students that you see, and they're coming to school with the lunches that were packed by their moms.
Yeah.
You got to keep in mind we're coming from broken families to begin with.
Now, because you are, uh, do Black people? Because when you get started in business, or you're talking about building something, you have to go through and get a loan in most instances to get the money. Are there certain parameters that they do to keep Black people back from getting loans?
Everything is based off of the still red line. Because if you don't get a certain zip code, if you don't have a certain credit score, then the qualifications for you getting insurance is going to be higher, getting a loan is going to be higher, or you even having a builder's license is going to be predicated on your credit score.
Now, what's a builder's license do? I mean, if I want to go build something, I can just go do it. I got the money. What's a builder's license do for you?
No. So you need a builder's license to do it. You can't just go and do it. So if you want to build something, you have to get with a builder or contractor that's licensed. And then that builder is now licensed to build that
Oh,
home
I see what you're saying.
builder. So you need a builder's license. Most contractors to do home repairs, technically, you're supposed to have a builder's license.
Oh, I see.
In order to do home repairs, additions, fire restoration, and new construction.
I see. Now, okay, we're gonna pivot to real estate. What were some of the policies that racists did to keep Black people segregated in various neighborhoods?
So when I think it was Jones versus 1964 Act, 1964, and well, there was so much going on during that same time.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that particular era was an interracial couple that wanted to buy a home, and they had the property, it was under contract, they were supposed to close on the property. When the homeowner that was selling the property got to the closing and saw that the couple, so he had been dealing with the agent, and the person that went to purchase the property was a Caucasian woman. But when they got to the closing table, the husband was nigger, flat out nigger. Okay, that was accepted back then to say that word. So, and it went, in that case, went all the way to the Supreme Court. And of course, it finally was, they were able, but it still didn't stop people redlining. They just kind of changed the narrative or whatever. When it comes to loans, in fact, honestly, recently, like in I had to refinance my own property that I live in, and it was redlining, flat out redlining, and so you hear about it until it happens to you. I had an appraiser come out, and he gave me a lower value of my property's worth because I'm African American. So you turn around and then you have someone. I had my contractor, which is a Caucasian, and I just, we went through another company, redid it, had it reappraised, and I had white contractor took African American pictures, my home setting and the environment, had someone show up that was Caucasian, and the property value came in at a higher value. Isn't that something? In
Yeah,
20,
I've heard stories like that in the news, and they sued those appraisers in some respects.
23, yep.
Yeah. What
When
does
I
redlining mean? What does that mean?
well, so when you are a certain nationality, color, based off of, the opportunities that exist for, it's supposed to be equal opportunity, right? But
Okay.
because you are, let's say, someone that bears my skin color, then those same opportunities is at the person's discretion that is sitting behind this desk that I'm sitting at right now, that determines your fate, basically. To say, you know what, we can't have all these Black people living up in our neighborhood, because there goes the neighborhood. They're going to come in with, that Pookie Ray Ray loud music. They've already, pictured a negative narrative of they think we are. And so they create certain barriers to prevent us from having the same equal opportunities that supposed to be for everyone created equal.
So, in many respects, what they're saying is they've carved out a city, town, what have you, and said that we want the Blacks to live on that side, we want the whites to live on that side, and then that's the only opportunity that the Blacks could live in during that time.
So that's called steering. So when you steer a certain like demographic. So when I got my first property, I had a house that was built, and when I was doing the construction of it, I didn't know that I was being steered. I didn't know. So, but then the agent, she says, "Well, look at it on the price side. I just like what I like, so I wanted what I wanted, and I can afford what I wanted." She said, "Well, you're on the opposite side." I said the opposite side. So and that's all she said, because she couldn't say my agent, my real estate agent at the time. And so when I finally moved to this suburbs outside of Detroit, and I finally moved to the community, and people was like, "Oh, you live on the white side." The white side. And that's when I realized, wow, so I was and she was showing me all the houses on the black side of the road, you know,
I
and so
got
the
you.
property value is higher on the opposite side than it is on the, you know, the left
Right,
side or
right,
whatever, for
right.
lack of a better word. So I like what I like. And so I ended up on the side that I didn't realize was not the black side, you
Right,
know,
right.
whatever. So
Have you seen have you seen in a deed a covenant that says things like white only from back in the day, black
I
only?
have, if I had time, I'll show you a picture. We get them all the time. So whenever they're restrictive deeds, mainly in Highland Park, you see a lot of that in the homes that said to never sell this property to an African American, like never, you know. And so, but because that law was passed, you know, that you can actually write over that now that
Yeah.
says that it could never be sold to an African American.
Yeah, but in terms of that real estate thing, I know that was you know, here in Detroit, a lot of it where there were neighborhoods that black people weren't allowed to move to, and that's across America. What what is the what's the status of black people in home ownership now? Is it, do you have an idea of the percentages of that?
Well, right now, that's really what I'm understanding the value of, you know, home ownership, coming out of I was a landlord for over 20 years, with multiple properties, and I realized that I was still enabling my own to a renter's mentality. I have people that I have a program, it's called Agreement for Deed. And as the lender, I go out and purchase, and then I let a person finance it until they own it. And so let's say 5 years later, you become a homeowner where they're the first homeowner in their family at age 50, or, you know, to own a home and to see these people crying, leaving out emotionally because they are breaking generational curses and strongholds from that, you know, renter's mentality. I've never rented. I've never been in a rental. I've never had to pay rent. I've always been a homeowner, perpetual. And so typically when you have people that come from renter and their parents rented, their fathers rented their apartments, they typically have no problem growing up, getting their first apartment, you know, whatever. And that money that we're spending, if you know, I'm looking at some of my clients and they're paying to be in these communities, paying, you know, $3,000 a month. And if you're there over 10 years, you know, the money that you could have bought a house,
Yeah, right, sure.
could have bought a house. There's 101 ways to acquire real estate, and we only knew of two.
Yes, yeah. I know the other thing that you and I have talked about is the investment factor of insurance.
My other book.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was also no, that was inspired by What is Infinite Banking by the great devout Christian and Nelson Nash. Become Your Own Banker. I always thought he was talking about owning a bank. And for some weird, strange, whatever, you know, out of space, you know, imagination that God gave me, that was something I always wanted. I wanted to like find out what does it cost to own a bank. So my curiosity led me down that path, and I already had possession of that book, not realizing that I had possession of the book 3 years prior. And when I finally opened it up, it wasn't even talking about a bank. It was
Okay.
talking about taking a life insurance policy, taking your hard-earned money, putting it into a concept that we call a permanent residence. And I'm using this as an illustration. Imagine all of the money that you make over the course of life going into this box, right? Dumping it into this box, remaining there forever, but you have total access to it anytime you need it, no questions asked, and your money is still there compounding, earning interest over time,
Okay.
building wealth, right?
And that's what life insurance does.
That's what the policy that is either the private reserve strategy or infinite banking. Those are the two names that you will hear the wealthy call it the private reserve strategy. It's private, is reserving your money, and it's strategizing. So the company that I write for has been around since 1848, okay? 1848. So if they was preserving their wealth, putting policies on slaves and making sure that they preserve their wealth, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, and that money is still there. It's not still there because it was invested properly. It's still there because it's set in the permanent residence. So what am I saying? If you want to establish real wealth, we have to follow the blueprint. It's nothing new under the sun. So that means that I use my money as collateral. I never touch my actual physical dollar. My dollar remains in a permanent residence, but I still have access to that money. And over time, that money continues to grow. So wealthy people do what? They borrow against their money, correct?
So now hold on. Let me make sure that I understand everybody. So they they bought a life insurance policy, or what did they do with the money that then they borrow against? Is it a life insurance policy?
It's a life insurance policy. And in that life insurance policy, you're able to pay into a premium on the life of that person, a high dollar amount, which is actually like a savings account. We can do the exact same thing when we structure our life policies in that manner. We're never taught this strategy. It's not for everyone to even know because we were taught by term invest the rest, go to get a good job, work hard for money. The infinite banking is about a living policy that I can utilize right now. Okay, so when I structure my policy, let's just assume a client puts in from 10,000 to 500 to 100,000. Okay, it doesn't matter. I have access to whatever I put in immediately to pull it right back out in the form of a loan. Am I 500, 10,000, or 100?
Yeah. So what is the policy called? And do all insurance agents sell this, or just you, or how does that go?
So it's the structure of either through whole life or IULs. You can't do infinite banking with term.
So is there any risk with that?
There's no loss provisions and there's no risk in the concept of how it's structured. So when it's structured properly, you're protected because.
Now let's go back to your book. Show us the books again that you've written. I see it.
It's Infinite Bank, and it is Building Generational Wealth Secrets Exposed. Okay. So the private reserve strategy is set up where you have no loss provisions. Your money is always making money. You can borrow from your money anytime for any reason, unlike 401ks, RAs. You can't touch them. And if you do borrow from it, that money can be either taxed and penalized when it matures, right? So at some point, you still have a business partner and how to get rich and win in real estate. And so the 203K program gives you the money to buy the property and rehab the property and live in the property or eventually sell the property. These are just so many different ways to acquire real estate programs. So there's so many different programs that we can take advantage of if we only knew about.
Yeah, I love it. Right? And that's another one there.
This is how to train your mind.
Well, now, as we come to a close, what is your website? How do people follow you?
LANAY LeneHarris.com. This is my latest book, My Power of Positive Thinking. So LeneHarris.com.
All right. My last question. So what are you? You a motivational speaker?
I
What?
do motivational speaking, natural literacy when it comes to the mind potential, and I'm just a lover of life. I love people. I want to see us win, and I'm just grateful to be able to impact someone. And I'm also a real estate specialist in motivation as well too. So I believe in encouraging people to live out their best self. When it comes to your finances, when it comes to your mental mindset, and then when it comes to your investment.
I love it. You proud of yourself.
Pat myself on the back now.
Yeah, there you go. And to
Giving
come from
myself
where
a
you
little.
yeah, to come from where you come from is huge. And you have a lot of confidence too. I noticed that because I remember one time I was watching you and you were at the park, the thing my cousin had, and you were out there handing out your flyers. Nothing like that is beneath you. You want people to get this.
Absolutely. You know, I wake up every day saying I have confidence and belief. I have confidence and belief. How you do anything is how you do everything. And how, if you ever want to change the trajectory of you got to change how you do everything.
Sure. And let me ask last question. Is there somebody in history that you have read on their life that you kind of model your life after somebody, a Black history hero, male or female?
Absolutely. Yes. So her confidence and belief. And she would have freed a lot more people had they just known that they were free. And so that's really like my flight right now is helping you see that you're liberated, you're free, you walk in dominion, you have power, you have the ability already possessed within you. And Martin Luther King, you don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step, and God sees the increase and the people that will carry you to that next level if we can just get out of our own way
I
sometimes.
got you. I love it. Well, hey, everybody, this is what I do here at Strong Inspirations. I give you some people that are confident, super
And
confident,
believe.
and believe, and expose that to the world in themselves. And it works. So hit the subscribe button on Strong Inspirations. It's free. Don't ask no money. Hit the like button on this video. Hit the notifications bell and tell somebody about the Strong Inspiration and about this sister. Follow her. Thank you so very much for coming on here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes,
What
I'll be
you're
in
doing is
touch. And everybody, with that, I don't have I want to do this, and I mean this one too, my sister. What I really like for you to do it is stay strong, stay safe, stay on your grind. I love what you have become
oh,
from
that's
your
what I
beginning,
do. That's what I do.
and it resonates, no question. Thank you.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.